Now we're coming to, as you all know, my favorite portion of the afternoon, and that is when we get to interview one of the profound business leaders within our city and nation. And we call this the case study. So we just have a nice informal chat, and we learn from the good, the bad, and the ugly from this leader's life. And we normally tell them in advance, please just don't come and tell us how great you are, because we can speak to your spouse afterwards to just confirm, the honest truth. But what I can say in this case is welcome back to a great man, a man of God, and a well-respected leader within our nation, and a truly humble man. And you're going to learn from his life. So would you join me in welcoming Mr. Victor Sekese?
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for inviting me to come and share with the wonderful team that you have here. It's a real privilege. And thank you. I really learned a lot from the sharing from the pastor this morning. I made a lot of notes. So my name is Victor Sekese. I'm the Group Chief Executive of SNG Grant Thornton, which is a firm of accountants and auditors, part of Grant Thornton International. We're part of a global network. I'm married to a wonderful wife, Dudu Sekese. We're blessed with two kids, one adult married out of the house, and a teenager. I heard people talk about teens earlier, whom we stay with now. Lockdown has forced all three of us to be together, and lockdown is not good, it's bad for a number of reasons, but I think the beauty about it is that it has brought us together, especially my wife and I, with finding that we're spending quite a lot of time to sort of rekindle and know each other better, stronger, and strengthen our relationship. But sadly, with my son, he being a teenager, we hardly see him, although we stay in the same house, and we miss him so much because we change shifts. When we go to sleep, he wakes up, and when we wake up, he sleeps. So we say that he's in self-isolation. So he's been in self-isolation since this lockdown began. I don't know how he does his assignments, but somehow he manages to do his assignments as such. So that's a bit about me. I grew up in Mamelodi East, which is east of Pretoria, and I live in Kailani, Midrand, Johannesburg. So I've been in Johannesburg since my tertiary days. I never went back to Mamelodi as such. Yeah, so I'm a Johannesburg resident, but as they say, I mean, Johannesburg and Pretoria, part of Gauteng, is all the same region. Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm smiling because I can identify with having a teenager at home, and some advice from my side is to switch off the Wi-Fi. Then all of a sudden they appear again, and they seem to be alive. And of course, family, our spouse and children, God can use them to also build our characters, and of course to teach us humility, which we'll be exploring a bit more today. We're so happy to learn that you're from Mums, and hopefully you're a Mamelodi Sundown supporter.
Yes, I am.
Wonderful. Now, Victor, you grew up in Pretoria, as you said, and you then went on to study BCom accounting, and after that you completed your honors degree, and then you, of course, qualified as a chartered accountant. How did your career, start off? I know, before you headed up Sizwe, Saluba, and Gobodo, SNG, that part of what is known today as SNG Grant Thornton. Do you mind maybe telling us a little bit about that early career?
Yeah, look, I started during my university days working over vacations, doing holiday jobs with various companies, and also including the audit firm that I eventually signed my training with, what we used to call articles. I articled with a Big Four accounting firm for 3 years. I must say that my time there was not enjoyable from a number of respects, and literally it's because for no reason, I was denied the opportunities to be exposed to learning. If you were to call, if I were to say that, and that was like in the late 80s, early 90s. And again, I think the opportunities were not equally available based on race and gender as such. So in a way, that's why I say my experience was not enjoyable from that point. But I think something happened during the training. I was seconded to work for a sole practice, a one-man accounting practice in El Dorado, south of Johannesburg, a township for the colored people. And I worked for the practice there. The practice had an arrangement and an agreement with the firm that I articled with to sort of collaborate and staff exchange. And I spent about 6 months there working with township entrepreneurs and working with civil society, non-government organizations. And I think that gave me exposure and understanding and empathy in terms of the challenges that Black entrepreneurs generally were faced with. And I think that rekindled in a way my outlook and helped me later when I took the decision to join Sizwe and Saluba Gobodo, because when I joined the firm in 1994, the focus of the firm was largely helping township entrepreneurs and was largely working with non-government organizations, working with donor organizations. That's how then I found it. So when I finished my training, I went to industry, as we put it in the CA profession. I worked for a car manufacturing company, and I only lasted a year. And the reason why I only lasted a year, I couldn't fit culturally. And I think in terms of the culture of doing things, and largely it didn't sit me well. And that's when I realized that perhaps let me go and back to the profession and make an impact in the community, the entrepreneurial community. And that's when I initially started a firm. I was going to be a sole practitioner called Sekese and Associates, helping Black professionals. Then in the process, I met up with Sango Nsaluba, whom I worked with in an association called ABASA, the Association for the Advancement of Black Accountants. And when we exchanged notes, we realized that he needed a bit of capacity. He needed to grow. Then what I did, then I collapsed my practice into Sizwe and Saluba then. And then I've been then with the firm since 1994, doing a lot of wonderful work, and I've seen the firm transform from the humble beginnings to where it is now, which is a well-respected player in the accounting profession, the fifth largest firm in the local auditing profession space. And I've been, and my partners, when we lost late 90s, when we lost our CEO, Sizwe Ngasana, when he left us to go to become the CEO of Telkom, the partners all looked up to me to fill the big shoes that Sizwe left. At that time, I must say that his leaving was untimely. We didn't expect him to leave that, and we were all minding our own business, running our own clients, knowing that from a leadership point of view, strategy point of view, Sizwe Ngasana was there to lead us. And voila, I needed then to transform myself almost instantly in leading the firm. But I was fortunate that my fellow partners gave me the support. And like I say, I was not ready, but collectively we worked together and pushed the firm to and challenge the firm to achieve its potential. We still are not performing according to our potential, but collectively working with my colleagues and working with the entire SNG Grant Thornton team, we're moving forward towards our potential, because we understand our potential, and we're dealing with all the issues that are preventing us from performing to our potential.
Oh, wonderful. Please tell us, just for those who might not be aware, of the auditing space, how many people do you guys employ in South Africa? And, part of the larger Grant Thornton family globally as well. How many people are we talking about?
In South Africa, we have circa 1,300 people throughout the country. We've got this in all 9 provinces. We part of the Grant Thornton Global Network. Grant Thornton worldwide has 56,000 people in more than 140 countries. So with that, we are able to offer our clients a seamless global service. We've got a few global clients that we are able to serve. But simultaneously, we've been able then to serve and get referrals from our colleagues in the Grant Thornton network. We've had work referred from the UK, from France, from China, from everywhere, US, etc. So and Grant Thornton, it's a value-based organization, and that's what attracted us to that. And I know that we are talking about humility this afternoon, and we find ourselves, and I think as the leaders and as the leader, to say we've opted and we continue to be a value-based organization that helps us in quite a number of aspects as such, and because it's the values that then define the culture, because those are the values that drive our thinking, the values that drive our decision making, and how we interact with each other, how we interact with the outside world. And that then translates then into how do we behave as leaders, because as leaders, we really need to be role models of the values that we live by.
Very true. I absolutely love what you're saying there, that, values in an organization is not just what we print, on a poster and display on the walls, but it's the behavior modeled by the leaders as the custodians of organizational culture. And one of those values, then hopefully, being biblical virtues as well, and one of them being humility. Before we delve a little bit deeper into the topic of today, do you mind if we get a little bit personal and maybe ask you, in your personal journey, when did Jesus become a reality to you?
I grew up in a deeply Christian family, and therefore I was introduced to Christianity and Jesus at a very early stage. And I think I know during those days, and you submit as a young child, and you go to Sunday school. I went to Sunday school, religiously went to Sunday school. Then you get to an element of rebellion as a teenager. We're talking about teens. But I accepted Jesus Christ as a personal savior in 1982. And I think that helped shape my life, even though I think in that context of family values raised up in a family, that helped shape my life in a big way in terms of how I relate to my fellow human beings. How do I relate to my parents? How do I relate to superiors? And how do I relate to society as a whole? And how do I conduct myself from that point of view?
Mm. Now, in the corporate world, and of course, you guys deal with clients across industries and even non-profit and government space as well. But in the corporate world, we know quite often it's a dog-eat-dog world out there, and people, wanting to climb the so-called success ladder, just step on each other. So, in your opinion, what does it mean to be a servant leader, and is humility really a virtue which a business leader should have today?
Yeah, look, I mean, there's a lot that is written about servant leadership, and I think to me, in terms of my personal interpretation and meaning to it, is being authentic, and I think we are in a crisis, if I were to say that, or we are faced with societal challenges. Corporate challenges because people try to be other people that they are not. They're not being authentic. And authentic means that realizing and knowing yourself very well, knowing who you are as a person, and knowing your abilities and knowing your limitations as well. And understanding that you want and you can't achieve what you want to achieve on your own. I mean, this morning or earlier today, the pastor spoke about the ultimate servant leader, Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ realized he came here on earth for a mission, but he realized that he wasn't going to be able to achieve that alone. And he pulled together a team, a close-knitted team, to assist him in carrying out his mission. So part of that and part of being genuine amongst yourself is realizing that you are not a superhero and you don't know it all, but you realize that each and every person on this earth has been put on this earth for a reason, and they've got something to offer. God has given in them. Yes, of course, they've studied in their various disciplines. Either they studied accounting and auditing. They might have studied IT studies and etc. So there is that professional contribution that they bring. But being a servant leader is an understanding that people have got something to offer. Yes, they have something to offer at a technical level, but they've got something to offer beyond that because of their unique gifting because of their unique talents. Now, being a servant leader is recognizing that you are better off working and bringing everybody to the table where they bring diversity to the challenges, to the solutions that you are working out, understanding that somebody's got something to offer. And it's creating that enabling environment where people can thrive as individuals, but not only they can thrive as individuals, but they can thrive as teams as well and live to their potential. And part of being a servant leader is working hard, creating that environment. And within SNG Grant Thornton, to help us make sure that we are on the right path, we've come up with what we call a people promise. So a people promise to say, from an organizational point of view, this is the experience we promise our people when they come and want to further their careers with us. And it's 4 pillars. One of the pillar is talks to authentic, to say we create an environment where you are becoming authentic. So we let you become who you are, and we stretch you to bring your God-given talents to the table. The other pillar, it says we create an environment where you will collaborate and you relate to your colleagues. So we understand that you are not alone, you are not an island, and you are better off and you are able to learn from other people. So we create that relatedness, that collaborative, so that we are able to collaborate, and together we are better. So then when we become transparent as the leadership of the firm around the people promise, and we work very hard to create that environment that we do. But we also, in our transparency, we poll our people through what we call a people voice, where our people, and we do a survey where they measure us to say how well are we doing against this people promise. And once we get that feedback, we analyze it and we engage further in focus group to say, what does it mean, and identify areas of improvement. And we believe that if we offer our people an excellent people experience, where our people love being at SNG Grant Thornton, where our people look forward to offer SNG Grant Thornton their entire self. So they come and become present when they appear. They bring their whole entire self. They bring their bodies, their souls, their mind. They bring their spirit as well to that. And in that regard, they become the best. And if they do that, that will automatically translate into the client experience. So the client experience will be excellent and will excel, and our clients will start then enjoying the services that we give them, enjoying that, and then they will talk about it, because we're giving them an exceptional service. And then as they talk about it, and then word goes out there, then we generally then create a sort of a reputation of this type of client service that we offer. So it's focusing on your people and making sure that we encourage our people, and we create an enabling environment where they can excel. And then that talks to then our culture of coaching and mentoring. And we're working very hard at them to say it's not only the responsibility of your senior or your supervisor to come and coach that. And this year, which we started last year, we came with a hashtag Own Your Growth. So we are saying to trainees, accounting firms employ a lot of young people. They come in as trainees, fresh from university. So we challenge them to say they need to take ownership of their own growth and take initiative to engage with their seniors, with their superiors, to actually get that feedback. And we've empowered, and we continue to empower the seniors, the supervisors, to give honest feedback and have courageous conversations. We talk about courageous conversations, and conversations about how well the team is doing, but also the opportunities of growth, the opportunities of learning. And in that regard, we've made it, and it's a journey, we're not there yet, to create a psychological safety where you don't feel bad by not doing well, because we understand that there are times where you will not do well for a number of reasons. And in that instance, we encourage you to come out to say, on this job, I don't think I did well, but look for opportunities of growth in that regard, of how can I then grow from this experience and learn from this experience. And we've come from a dispensation where you are frowned upon for doing badly. And as a result, you hide. Where you've done badly, you hide because it's unforgivable or it's not. But to a situation to say, it's okay. And I started working on that with my executive team, to say, as an executive team, it's okay not to have done well. Let's help each other. Where did you go wrong? What you could have done better? What support do you need to do that? So as a result, then the executives then are not hiding areas of poor performance, if I can do it that way. We are not there yet, but I'm happy with the journey that we are going to get towards there. At least at an executive level, we've got it right. And that then will translate down within an organization to a situation where your first year trainee also said it's okay to err, but what have I learned? So I must not make the same mistake again going on.
Oh, I absolutely agree with that. And it sounds like a wonderful organization to be part of and to work for. So I suspect you might receive a few CVs or job applications even from this
They're welcome.
group soon. Creating that atmosphere where it's safe to fail, but to fail forward and to learn and to grow. I can't agree with that more. And, one thing you said there very early in the beginning was to be an authentic leader, you don't have to be the hero. And, I love that. And I think that is a servant leader or a true humble leader to realize. But I don't have to be the superhero, and surround yourself with people. And your responsibility as a leader then to create that atmosphere where growth can take place and where people can feel safe. In closing, Victor, we have a whole lot of Christian business leaders connected here this afternoon. And of course, we are now in lockdown. We are in uncertain times. We know the acronym VUCA, the uncertain, volatile, complex, ambiguous, environment we're living in. Do you have any advice for us this afternoon? Do you have hope for South Africa and even globally, for business and our role to play?
Yeah, look, I think these are challenging times. And again, I think as Christian leaders and as Christians generally, we are required. I think it's a requirement. I think the pastor spoke about a requirement to be humble, but it's also required. We are required to be people of faith. We required to look into the future, a bright future Jesus Christ promised us, regardless of the circumstances. So in these circumstances, we challenged to reach out to our own people to sell hope, to give them hope and assurance that it will be well. And it doesn't matter the hardship that your individual businesses are experiencing. I think different businesses are experiencing different hardships at different times, but to prayerfully, and the Bible says that we should not worry, and that should not worry. It should not worry in all situations. I think we should not worry when things are okay, and you should not worry when things are bad. And again, I think he says we should not worry because he's got better outcomes for us. So we need to really stretch ourselves, stretch our faith, and rely and depend on him that he'll come through for us. But rely on him that he'll give us knowledge, supernatural knowledge, wisdom, and understanding for us to come with supernatural solutions to the challenges that face us. There are times when I give up. I said, Lord, I commit all these challenges to you. Come through for me and my leadership team. And I think I find peace after that prayer. And I'm able to go to the leadership team and offer hope and really motivate our people to look forward to a bright future and a better future. So we need to be steadfast, be still, and do that. I think the other good thing about the lockdown, I spoke about the bad and the good. I didn't talk about the ugly. Is that it also gives us time to reflect and certainly strengthen our relationship with the Lord, seek the scriptures, because I think solutions are out there. They are in the scriptures. So it's upon us to go and look out there. And the Lord will give you the creativity that you need to succeed in these circumstances.
Absolutely. He's the creator, and we were created in his image and his likeness. So we're trusting and we're praying for new patents and new business ideas and new industries to even evolve, and maybe even people joining us here, that there will be grace there for them to also find new creative ways of doing business. Could we maybe allow just one or two questions for Victor? Anyone brave enough to unmute yourself and switch on your camera, and you have this wise, humble servant leader in the room today. So any questions? Yes, right. Elizabeth from Tribe One.
Yes. Hi, Victor. Thank you so much for speaking to us today. I really appreciated all your input. This may seem, in a sense, unrelated to today's topic, but I just wanted to know, in terms of humility and the unfortunate corruption that we're facing in this country, how can integrity in our leadership actually change this? Because I know it's a very complicated issue, but from your experience in terms of having integrity, how can that actually help a leader to face something as big as corruption?
Thanks, Elizabeth, for that question. And I think, as you know, because of the profession that I'm in, auditing and accounting, I mean, we as auditors have been under a lot of scrutiny ourselves for not having really acted in an exemplary manner. And we've got a lot of initiatives to bring the trust, the public trust into the profession. When I look at the challenge at it, and I think if one were to address to the core of the challenge, is that I think as South Africa Inc., my observation is that I think we lack a common rallying, how can I say, objective South African Inc. Objective, sort of a driving force, a mission of some sort to say, South Africa Inc., this is our broad vision for the country. And yes, of course, you get it in drips and drabs, and there is this policy document and etc. But there isn't a pulling force of that will bring us together to say, this is a common vision for South Africa. And then flowing from that, then you get the values, which I would say South Africa Inc. values, which we all, as a society, as a community, we rally around and we agree on, such that if you don't live according to those values, you are frowned upon. So, and I think we need to go back to those basics to say, what do we as South Africa, in diverse as we are, from diverse religious backgrounds, diverse cultural backgrounds, but these are the values that bring us together. And if we live by these values, we'll be successful. And if you are found living against that value, you become an outcast. Now, we find ourselves in a situation where we've sort of normalized, and it's an unfortunate situation, where we've normalized corruption, where you find civil service, it's anything but saving the people. We need to go back to those situations where a civil service is about saving the people, but not only about what is it that I can get for myself. Of course, you get your salary, that's it. What else do you need? Because you get your salary. But even when you volunteer, you don't get a volunteer because it's for the good of that society. And it's unfortunate that we've lost that element of it. And I think if I were advising the political leadership of the country, is that we need to spend a lot of time in that. And once we've done that, we go and inculcate in South Africa Inc. across in the educational system, right from kindergarten. Our kids know that this is the vision of South Africa Inc. and these are the values that drive us. And as you grow, and that informs our culture, if I were to say South Africa Inc. culture, our way of thinking, our policy framework, and we get into that. I know that it's that we might say pie in the sky, but until we get to that, I'm afraid we'll continue to be challenged with the challenges that are confronting us as such. And I think there are countries out there, if we do studies, that are going towards that, especially the Scandinavian. Yeah, the Scandinavian countries. Yeah, those. Thank you, Luan. I think, look, they haven't perfected the system, but I think we can look up to them for one or two things. China as well. Well, there's more bad that we hear about China, but when you look at the societal way of doing things, there's certain elements that pull them together, beliefs that pull them together in terms of believing in that. Yes, of course, there's quite a lot of other bad things that come with it, but there's learnings that we can do. So in South Africa, I think we missed an opportunity. I think during Nelson Mandela era, we missed an opportunity to rally around that element. I think the late Nelson Mandela spent a lot of time focusing on reconciliation, which was good. But I think we should have used that opportunity to sort of rekindle, to say what type of South Africa Inc. we want, and we all agree in. It's not late though. We can still go into that. I think it's very high level and etc. In the meantime, we just have to do our own little things in our own individual spaces to influence the status quo and challenge the status quo.
Oh, I agree with those words of wisdom. There's a big task of education on our shoulders, and as leaders, we need to lead by example. And these virtues and those values we need to live and bring as the alternative to what we might find in the marketplace. Guys, do you mind joining me and thanking Mr. Victor Sekese for an amazing time this afternoon? Thank you for your openness and your willingness to share words of wisdom with us. We salute you guys, and we pray for your safety and your strength as well. And please keep on doing the good work at that wonderful organization. Thank you so much, Victor.
Thank you, Ruan. It's been wonderful. I really enjoyed the interaction, and best wishes with the rest of the year and with your program. You're doing a wonderful job. God bless you.